Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Mind Your Puckin' Business with your host, Jeffrey Krensman.
Love the drum roll there at the end, by the way.
Right?
I don't think we talked about that.
Yes.
Thank you for the intro, as always, Dougie
Absolutely.
Sticks. Welcome to Mind Your Puckin' Business. Coming to you, as always, from the beautiful studios of Undefeated Media here in Bergen County, New Jersey. I love how you take such pride in that.
I do, yes. Thank you. You
Beautiful.
call my studio beautiful. It's like my baby.
It is, and we are coming to you live from there. We're taping this episode on Tuesday, July 27th, so everything we talk about NHL-wise today will be current as through then. And then I believe, why don't we get into this, because this is a change that we should mention. I believe next week we will be off for vacation. Then the following week we will be back, but we will be back via remote. Like we will be in two different spots.
Yeah.
So we will return to the live shows. That would be August 17th, or live in studio. We'll be live August 10th.
Yeah.
Just remote, not here.
Yeah.
As they do the summer renovations here in the studio.
Absolutely.
Right? And then we will be back live in Undefeated Media Studios on Tuesday, August 17th.
Yeah. If you make it out of Orlando.
If I make it out of Orlando next week, yes. We were joking, and it's not really a joke. I don't really like to get into like my personal life around these states in this area. But as we're going to Orlando next week, it is a hot area right now for coronavirus. Mm-hmm. So we were joking if I was going to bring that back along with some Mickey souvenirs. Let's hope that does not happen. Thanks for listening. As always, you can listen to us today or anytime on Facebook, iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. You can have your choice of platform you can find us. You have no excuses not to find us.
No excuse.
And if you find us on a Spanish-speaking country, this is episode 40 on the Spanish style, episode 40.
Nice.
Now, I have to admit, the last couple of weeks it was easy because it was 30 and then the number. I had no idea how to say 40. It had to be Googled before. So I hope I said 40. Okay.
40.
You are always my go-to.
I've taken every Spanish class my college had to offer.
You, my friend.
I just did it in reverse. I took the hardest one first because I had Spanish in high school. Put me in the hardest one first, and I was like, whoa. And they just gradually brought me down to the easy.
Yeah, I took, so we won't get into it, but I did not take a lot of Spanish classes in my life, as you can tell by the way I pronounce the Spanish numbers here on the dial every week. And you can send us your questions, and we are going to get to some questions today. And we can do that at any time at mypbshow@gmail.com. That is mypbshow@gmail.com. So welcome, as always. Thanks for listening. We have a bunch of off-season stuff to run through on the Rangers. We do have our summer series small business spotlight to get to, which I believe we're going to do a little bit of reverse today. We're going to get to it at the beginning of the show momentarily, as I see he is almost ready. But how was your week otherwise, Dougie Sticks? Good?
No complaints.
No complaints? Feeling the summer?
Yeah, love the summer. I always love the summer. I like warm weather. Don't really like cold weather. We had a nice little event at Biagio's, which we had a great turnout. We had the actual DeLorean from Back to the Future, the car.
I did see some stuff on social media.
Yes, we got some good stuff coming. And then we're actually going to do another event. I don't think I told you yet. We're doing another event August 24th. It's going to be an e-sport event for the kids so they can play video games on a competition while the parents get to have a night out and enjoy the festivities as well. So you don't need a babysitter.
Do you know that it has not gone up on social media, but there are rumors around the studios here.
What's the rumor?
That the video game NHL contest that you and I had 2 or 3 weeks ago, the Epic Battle, was videoed by somebody in the studio.
Yes.
I'm not going to look around as to who that could be here, but I believe that is going on social media.
Oh yeah.
So they will be able to see me beat you.
Yes, I believe you have a new segment coming too. It's going to be on the show.
Oh, great.
Or maybe not a segment, or just content that we put out. And I believe it's been dubbed Pucking Around.
Very good. Well, look at the creative names around here.
Yes.
I tell you,
B-Rock's working hard.
B-Rock is working hard in the studio, whether he's behind the camera or not. So we are going to get into a bunch of Ranger stuff today. And I know you're really excited because there's so much going on and nobody loves to talk hockey like you. But we're going to do things a little bit in reverse here today. And we are going to do the Summer Small Business Spotlight Series first. So let's see if we can get technology to work, and we'll pull our guest in. And there he is. Look at that.
And he's got the backdrop too. I mean, is this not perfect or what?
Look at that.
So this is Brian Caffey. He runs Monster Tree Service. Brian, can you hear us okay?
I can hear you okay. Can you hear me, Jeff?
We can hear you perfectly. Well, thanks for taking the time. And I will say that out of all of our spotlight series, you have won easily with the best backdrop because we're looking at white screens in the background. And so why don't we put up Dougie Sticks before we get started? We will put up their website. So you guys for following online, and that is monstertreeservice.com, northern-new-jersey. Say that 5 times.
You
fast.
forgot the slashes.
The slashes. Okay. Yeah.
Slash northern dash new dash Jersey slash.
Okay. Thanks.
If the people will listen on the podcast can't
Right.
see that.
Or
Everybody's not watching. That's fair. That's fair.
Just see.
That's fair. That's fair. And they can also go, if you don't want to get into the dash world, you can always just go
Yes.
to Monster Tree Service and find Brian's company that way. So,
True.
Brian, thank you for joining us. Why don't you give us a little bit of background on your business?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me, Jeff. So Monster Tree Service, we're actually part of the national franchise. So Monster Tree Service was founded in 2007 by a gentleman down in Doylestown, PA. He franchised this business and has done a very successful job. It's one of the fastest growing franchises in the US, one of the top 50 rankings. They've basically taken the service industry of tree service and rolled that into a platform where somebody like myself with business management experience can take that service and, in my opinion, provide a product that really can't be beaten for a small business owner. So the processes that they put in place with technology, I can run my entire business from my phone. I've got an app that runs my management. I have my estimates, everything all done from my phone remotely. And I actually got into this business through a world you're familiar with, the franchise consultant. Went through a number of different things to really see how these guys can really put us in a position to give us an advantage from the local tree guys. Nothing to knock them. It's a grind. It's a tough business. And usually the owner is also the operator, the crew leader, the estimator, a man or woman that wears many hats, whereas the way that they've set up this business model for us as owners, franchise owners, we can kind of use technology to support that business and segment out a lot of different tasks so that, if you pick up the phone and call us for, an appointment, we have somebody in the office to answer the phone right away. They're tapped into my technology platform where they can actually schedule our estimator. They can see their calendar, all the different things that go into running a business that, might be common or more usual for a different industry. Whereas in this business, it's usually pen and paper for estimates and, scheduling on Google Calendar and things like that. But yeah, so we've been in business since November of last year. I've got a great crew of people working for me. One of the most important things I think from my experience in my business background is really, customer facing, who's talking to the customer, both on the sales side and then also on the operations side. And having good people to support that business, I found is really the key to success. And I'm fortunate enough, thank God, to have good people working for me.
So let me ask you this. One thing you had said in there, we do try to do an entrepreneurial feel here every once in a while, and you obviously fit the bill. And you had said something about franchise consultants, which really are these companies that say, hey, look, you know what? We can help you fit and match what's best for you. We kind of know the franchise world, that they kind of learn a little bit about you and they try and match you. How was that process? Was that helpful? I mean, obviously it led you to a good conclusion. Would you recommend it?
Yeah, it's interesting. I've gone through 3 or 4 different franchise consultants over the years. My background, I started my own shredding company back in 2004, sold it in 2007, and made a career out of working for them for a number of years. So I'd always been looking to get back into something on my own. And over the years, I'd seen different franchise consultants. And this last one that I met, I was actually introduced through a career coach. And she was great. It's not just the 100-question survey of, trying to figure out what types of things are a good fit for you, but it's also, finding the business itself, how your experience and how your positives and strengths fit into those different businesses. And she did a really good job of making that fit for me. She matched me up with 3 businesses that I thought were all really good ideas and good fits for me personally. So I do think the franchise consultant route can be great. I just think you really need to find the right person to team up with, because it's really a lot about who they are too. It's not just finding the cookie cutter.
No, it makes sense. So we were saying here on the show, and we've been saying this the last couple of weeks, Dougie Sticks and I, that the companies that we're featuring here are companies that we use. So, I used the candy truck. We had curbside confections.
Nice.
Right. We had Derical Donuts, which I use on a weekly basis. I probably shouldn't, but I do. We had FOMO Baking.
You should, Jeff. You should. They're very good.
I should. They're very good.
Very good.
We had Brittany on from FOMO Baking with the crazy good cookies. Yeah. We had Fitness with Friends on last week, and I know plenty of people in my town that have used them. But I've used Monster Tree Service. So Brian, who started this business in November, as he said, I had them do a bunch of tree work at our house. And I have to say, from my experience with it, they were incredibly professional. They were priced very well. And they were also very respectful of the property. Like, they didn't leave a mess at all. Like, we would not have known. If I had not been home that day that you were there, and let's say no one was home in the hours you guys were there, I wouldn't have even known they were there, except for the missing trees, of course. Right? But they do a really good job. So we were doing some kind of quick research, on getting some stuff for you today. And one of the things I noticed right off the dot, and I know this through my own business, you have 30 positive, 5-star reviews in a matter of a few months. Are you aware of that on Google?
I am, yeah. We take great pride in that. And there's one guy that left a 4-star review, but he's the kind of guy that says, 5 stars, I just can't give it up. I just can't do it. I said, okay, Vince, no problem.
Well, the ranking, just so you know, Google is still at a 5. So even it takes the averages. So I would have to look to find the 4-star. But obviously, it's certainly from reading some of them and reading what the feedback the customers have been leaving. Everybody's really happy with the customer service that you mentioned, with the face of the company and who the customer is interacting and all that stuff.
Yeah. It's definitely important, right? Like, it's not just safely removing a tree, but it's also taking care of the property around it and the things around it. There's nothing that brings me greater pride than knowing that my guys leave a property in better shape than when we got there. It's the right way to treat the customer, and it's the right way to do things. So very important.
Got it. Let me ask you this. There's a lot of talk in the news about, hiring right now and the job market, and the government's, pumping in money and people don't want to work. You were in a position where you started this in November, right? So we're not talking that long ago. It's 8 months ago, if I'm doing my math correctly. My wife is the math teacher, not me. But that's a quick time to hire people in unprecedented times that we're all living in. Explain that. Was it difficult to find the right people? Do you think you just got lucky? How did that go?
So one of the things that corporate does for us is they actually have a dedicated talent acquisition team. So that is part of the support that we get from the franchise, which is another big leg up for us because finding talent is difficult. It's not easy, besides the labor market and what we're dealing with today. It's not easy to go in and just put up a job on Indeed and say, hey, do you have 10 years of experience cutting down trees and know how to operate the ropes and the saws and equipment? It's hard to begin with, but yeah, in this day and age with the job market, it's tough. It's tough to find good people. Talent acquisition team was super helpful with getting me introductions to different people. They pre-screen them as well, so it kind of makes my life a little easier with that. But yeah, my lead guy, Mark's done a great job of knowing people in the industry. He's been in the business for 30 years, and he's known people over the time, working with people. He's brought in some great people. My guy Philly's fantastic, and then Philly knows somebody, and he brings somebody in that he knows, and so on and so forth. So really, the key is finding 1 or 2 key good people that have been around and in the business to help me find other people to really build that team, and that's what we've done. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, we kind of did get a little lucky. I got lucky with working with Mark and then working with Philly, meeting Philly, and working with those people and building the team from there. So yeah, a little bit of luck. But yeah, it's
good Good people, right, Dougie Sticks? Good luck finding
Absolutely,
good people.
absolutely. We got lucky. We got B-Rock. We got B-Rock here.
We have a good staff. we have a good staff. Now, Brian was originally,
Yeah.
and I may have teased it last week, so
What's
I
that?
got to correct it if I did, that Brian was originally going to come in. I know I told you this for today. He was going to be in studio.
Oh, all right.
So-
So you're talking about B-Rock.
No,
All right, fine.
yeah. This Brian, Monster
Yes.
Tree Service, was going to come in, so we'll have to take a rain check for him to come in the studio. one
Yeah,
day.
Mike's ready for you.
But yeah, we have the third mic over here, all set. I know Dougie Sticks had a question for you.
So yeah, I just want to clarify. So, based on what you guys were saying, it sounded like you started your endeavor like mid-COVID or before COVID? Is that did I hear that correctly, or am I completely off?
Nope, you are on target there. I started looking. I met the franchise consultant in August. I was introduced to her in August and went through that process with her. And yeah, I closed on the business November, but we actually didn't launch until March 15th of this year.
Nice, congratulations. I mean, yeah, like especially when people are getting free money from the government, to be able to find people who actually want to work is. We don't have to get political, but
we won't go down that road with you. But no, the staff again. This is a company I use, so I'm not just we're not picking companies out of a hat here. I mean, they work great, and the people couldn't have been nicer. And I know that they're off to a good start because the town that I live in, I not only do I see the lawn signs, which there is one on my yard, but I do see on other yards. But I do see their trucks out and about. I've seen it. I've got to say, like maybe randomly 5 or 6 times in the last couple months. I'll be driving like in the streets in the town I live in. There's Monster Tree Service doing work. So you're doing a great job marketing. That's for sure.
Thank you, Jeff.
So, well, congratulations on all the success, continued success. Come back and see us again in studio next time.
Absolutely.
And you can give
Next time I'd like to come in. I'd like to talk some DraftKings. I'd like to.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I'm
I don't
addicted
wanna
now.
blow up, I don't want to blow up any advertising opportunities and give all the secrets that I have with my DraftKings experience and blow up, and now DraftKings doesn't want to sponsor you guys. But yeah, I would love to talk DraftKings. And on a closing note, Dougie, my regional ops manager, James, I had sent him one of the previous podcasts to check out. I said, yeah, I'm coming on the show today. And he's like, oh, were you already on already? I was like, no, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, no, I saw the video. It looked like you were on. He didn't watch it yet. But he saw, I guess, the image from YouTube, and I guess he thinks that you and I look alike. So, props to you for being such a
you're a good-looking dude, then.
Brian, if that's not the biggest compliment you've ever given, I don't know what is. Well, congrats on the success, and you should. Well, go ahead.
Before he goes, we gotta know what his favorite sports team is.
Okay,
I'm a Giants guy.
Go ahead, Brian.
I'm a Giants.
New York Giants guy.
All right, good stuff.
So we do, Brian, if you ever want to come on in football season, we do, and we had a lot of success with it. We do our weekly football picks. We'd pick 5 games a week with the spread.
Yep.
Yeah, we were 10-7. We had 10 winning weeks, 7 losing. But we always pick, if the Giants and the Jets are not included in our 5 picks, some weeks they are, some weeks they're not, we always pick the local game. So you can come on anytime, give us some Giant insight if you would like.
About the Giants. Giant insight about the Giants.
Yes, Giant insight about the Giants. And if we will take you up on the DraftKings offer, because my partner over here is so addicted now. He's looking at like women's ping pong so he can bet on DraftKings. He needs help.
I heard.
He's winning.
I'm winning.
Hey, Doug, all I want to know is, did you sign up for the mission for the Olympics to get the $5 free bet if you bet $10 or more in a day on the Olympics?
I gotta check that out. That's the only thing I haven't bet on yet is the Olympics. I mean, our ringer just quit. Simone just quit, so who knows?
Well, thank you again, Brian. Come back and see us anytime you would like, my man.
We'll do.
And again, we'll put up there one more time. Let's put up the website again, monstertreeservice.com. You can find them on there. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Have a good
rest of your day. So that is Brian Caffey with Monster Tree Service and our continuation of the Summer Small Business Spotlight Series. Now, I had thought originally, because I knew we were going to take like a hiatus for a week and then go remote. I was thinking that the Summer Small Business Series would then, kind of fade out as we go into football season. But we may keep it, and there may be an announcement coming in a couple of weeks for businesses in the area if they want to get on the show. A really good opportunity.
Yeah.
It would be well worth it with the amount of traffic.
You found so many great guests. Might as well keep it going.
Right. Well,
like the USA Olympic team with their winning streak.
Right. Well,
that just
apparently we had such a good guest today in Brian that he's a lookalike of you. So then we're doing it right.
Yeah. Who
right?
would have thought I would never see a splitting mirror image of myself?
There you go. You know, they could maybe photocrop Brian into your wedding photos in a couple months, and
Yeah.
we'll see.
It'd be an upgrade.
We'll see. Well, that's the Summer Small Business Spotlight Series. So let's move on to hockey, which is always your favorite topic, Dougie Sticks. You ready?
Absolutely.
So, all right. Last week, Dan Rosen's on the show, and we got a lot of really good feedback from Dan's appearance.
Yeah.
You guys posted some clips, which were good. I had a couple people text me or email the show during the week and say, hey, Dan said this, I agree with this, or hey, I don't know about this, right?
Yep.
One of the first questions we asked Dan.
Yes.
Now, a lot has happened in a week because on Wednesday you had the expansion draft with Seattle, and then on Friday night you had the draft. And normally when the NHL has their draft, or even the NBA draft for this matter, there's always a lot of trades going on because people are moving picks and players. So there's a lot that's happened in a week. I won't give you the quiz on it because I know you'll ace it. But one of the first questions I had asked Dan last week was, hey, there's a lot of rumors out there that Pavel Buchnevich is probably going to be traded, that the Rangers are shopping him around. And we had talked on the show last week with Dan, and we said St. Louis Blues and Nashville Predators are interested. Dan seemed adamant that was right, that Pavel Buchnevich would be moved for a variety of reasons. One, his trade value has probably never been higher. He had a good year this last year. But also the Rangers have an influx of wingers. So there's not a lot of places for him to play. If they have the Alexis Lafrenieres of the world and the Capo Cacos and the Artemi Panarin's who are not going to go anywhere, is there a spot for Pavel Buchnevich? So it made sense to trade him. Word came out on Friday afternoon, wouldn't you know it, although you heard it here first that it was possible, that Pavel Buchnevich was traded to the St. Louis Blues for a player as well as a second-round pick.
Okay.
Did
he do good?
Yeah, here's the thing with this trade. So I'm a little bit I'm torn. You can look at this a couple different ways. Pavel Buchnevich had a good year, right? So you get emotionally invested right now that, okay, he had a good year. So do we want to trade him? But Pavel Buchnevich has, up until this year, probably not lived up to the hype of what we wanted him to be. So we can't go off the 1 year, a Corona year nonetheless, which has been a weird year, and say this is what we're going to get in the future, because I don't think any Ranger fan would bet a substantial amount of money that you're going to get a consistent Pavel Buchnevich going forward. Now, look, I'd rather, you can only have so many players on the ice at a given time. So if you're telling me I'd rather get rid of Pavel Buchnevich, get something back, and then in turn open up playing time for some of the younger guys that I would like to see develop, like the Capo Cacos and the Alexis Lafrenieres, I'm fine with it. I don't mind the trade. I know some people are upset. Look, you would have maybe, the argument here is maybe you would have liked the Rangers to got back more than a second round pick and a player that is more of a third line kind of guy coming this way from St. Louis. But I do think overall it wasn't terrible. People seem to get a little emotionally attached. Now, Dan had said that he was Captain Happy was his nickname in the locker room. So you're going to lose a little bit of a locker room presence.
That was my question, is what's his attitude like? Is he's a pleasure to be around
He's
in the office?
He's a pleasure to be around. Now, the guy that they're bringing in from St. Louis is a guy named Sammy Blyce, and I'm probably pronouncing his last name wrong. He is known of a gritty player, a kind of in-your-face, hard-nosed hockey, which anybody who listens to anything the Rangers have said know that is what the Rangers are trying to build their team identity around, and what has been the problem the last couple of years, that the Rangers' top lines, yes, they've had the scoring with Zibanejad and Panarin and Kreider and all that stuff, and Strome even, but they haven't had the kind of hard-nosed guys, the gritty kind of players that complete your entire team that some of these Stanley Cup teams have had. That's what they're trying to do. Now, the other thing that happened last week, although it was not a surprise because it had already been leaked, was that the Rangers were going to make official the signing of Goodrow from Tampa, which they did. And that now you have a third line with this trade. It kind of all comes together here because you're going to have Goodrow and the guy that came back in the deal, Sammy Blyce, play a third line. And it will be a hard third line to play against if you're an opposing team. So Chris Drury has said the Rangers are going to be out there trying to get more physical, in-your-face style of hockey. They certainly seem to be doing that.
Nice.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah, sounds good. These sound like good plans.
But let me ask you this, and we joke about this, right?
Yes.
But you know how you You know hockey,
I'm
right?
just bad with the names.
Okay, you're bad with the name, but you understand the game. I mean, hey, you
Yeah.
played lacrosse. There's
It's the same game.
similarities. There's
Yeah.
similarities. We'll argue another day about what the national sport in Canada is. But
I play, bro. John Tavares was my teammate, bro.
I know we've got into this. But let me ask you this: if you're building a hockey team, let's say you woke up tomorrow and you were a general manager of the team, right?
Yes.
Wouldn't you
The Kraken? I'm the Seattle Kraken.
You're Ron Francis, the GM of the Seattle Kraken. Wouldn't you look at it and say to yourself, hey, I want the guys who can score 50 goals a year. Yes, I want the really good goalie. But don't I need guys that are physical and going to work in the corner, right? It's important to a team.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's just like business. Here it comes full circle. It's just like business. I much rather have someone who has heart and is willing to go the extra mile with zero experience than someone who's got a poor attitude and has all experience in the world.
Yeah, and you're not wrong. And so the Rangers are trying to build this identity now, or change their identity and build one which is being a more physical, tough team to play against.
I like it.
As Dan Rosen said on the show last week, Gerard Gallant, the new coach, has said, we want to be a team that is difficult to play against. The last couple years, they have not been. Yeah. Look at the instance in May when I came in here all annoyed at the Tom Wilson episode where he basically mugged Artemi Panarin on the side of the net, and there really wasn't anybody that stick up for him. Mm-hmm. And then they played 2 nights later, and all you need to know about how soft the Ranger team was they sent Brendan Smith after Tom Wilson. That's not a fighter, but that was the best fighter we had.
The best we had.
So that should show you something. So look, we wish Pavel Buchnevich luck. Pavel Buchnevich had a really nice kind of goodbye message to the Ranger fans. I think we put it up on our Facebook, on our Instagram page the other day. I think I put it up, but we do wish him well in St. Louis. We don't know what's going to happen. Look, it could be a bad trade down the road. If Pavel Buchnevich continues to develop and does well in St. Louis, you may look back at it and say it's a bad trade. But for the time being, it's understandable. You're going to create playing time for some of these other players. Now, Wednesday night was the Seattle Kraken, which now apparently you're the general manager of. So congratulations on your job.
Thank you.
It was the Seattle Kraken draft lotto. Now, we knew with the Rangers, there really wasn't a lot of suspense. There were a lot of teams that submitted lists, and it was kind of like, well, they're going to really pick one of these 7 players. With the Rangers, you kind of knew which way they were going to go, and you kind of had a feeling out of the 2 that they really could pick from, they were going to pick Colin Blackwell, and that's what they did. Look, I've got no problem with that at all. Matter of fact, like when I read in the last week that there are some people that are like, well, hopefully Seattle will give us an opportunity to get him back or trade for him. I mean, these
people get too romantic about their players, man.
Colin Blackwell. Now I'm going to say this about him. He came to the Rangers as a free agent last offseason from Nashville. Mm-hmm. Jeff Gordon, who was the GM at the time, was responsible for signing him. Colin Blackwell was the perfect example of somebody who overachieved, had a good season. Nice. You thought Colin Blackwell was going to be maybe, like on a scale of 1 to 10, he was going to be a 4. He was probably a 6 or 7. He overachieved. And so a lot of Ranger fans, understandably so, appreciate that. But there is not a place really on the roster going forward for Colin Blackwell. If we're going to sit here, as we've said for a while, and try and open up playing spots for younger talent to develop, Colin Blackwell doesn't really have a place here. Mm-hmm. We thank him for the 1 year he was here. Yes, he had a good year, but he's not in the future plans. And I can promise you that Colin Blackwell will not be the difference going forward, whether the Rangers win the Stanley Cup or not. He's just not.
True.
Good player. We wish him luck in Seattle, but I would not bet on the fact that he has another overachieving year. Because normally when players overachieve, they come back to earth, right? Isn't that in any sport?
True. They get figured out. People watch game tape. They figure them out.
They figure it out, right?
So what's a team all right, so we're evolving to this like bruiser team, this rough and tough team, right? Give me an example. So like I'll use another sport, like the Detroit Pistons with Isaiah Thomas with the Bad Boys. What's the NHL version of the Bad Boys?
What's the NHL? Well, you know what? That's a good question. I would say the Vegas Golden Knights the last couple of years, coincidentally, Gerard Gallant coached them, had that identity. They still do. They have Ryan Reeves. They're a tough physical team. It's the kind of thing where like, look, if you come into, this is where we're trying to get to. If you come into Madison Square Garden and you come away and you beat the Rangers, you're beaten up, you're physical, you're sore the next day. Yeah. That's the team we want to see being built and where we're trying to go. Vegas would be a very good example of that in the last couple of years.
Nice. But is there a legendary team?
Is there a legendary team?
Like a team like The 96 Gretzky Ranges.
Wow, look at you. You got the year right that he came
Thank you.
to the Garden.
Thank you.
Wow, 96. Well,
Yeah,
I tell you,
see,
underrated. He may have just guessed, but he sounds good. He threw it out there. He had a 1 in 25 chance, and he hit it. Just like your women's ping pong bet. DraftKings. No, you know what? I hate to say this because I am not a Devils fan at all, but it makes me think of the late 2000s with Claude Lemieux, Scott Stevens, Stéphane Richer, some of those guys, Ken Danico. That, I think of the Scott Stevens episode with Eric Lindros in the playoffs. Like just a very physical team.
Nice.
So it'll be interesting to see. Now, look, the Rangers, and we're going to run through this now, have a lot more to answer on the offseason. In particular, Jack Eichel, which is now, I have to say, and I'm not trying to be rude here, but it's getting annoying now, the Jack Eichel stuff. I have come on record and said, I like Jack Eichel. He went to Boston University where I went to school. So I knew who he was before he even went into the NHL.
You guys are bros.
We're not bros. He don't know me. I don't know him. He never will know me. But I'm getting tired every day of hearing Jack Eichel is going to go here. Or yesterday, Montreal had discussions with Buffalo about Jack Eichel. Like, enough already. I don't want a daily update. You're either going to move the guy, which I'm still convinced they are. Now, Kevin Adams, the general manager up there, said, well, hey, if we open training camp at the end of September and Jack Eichel's on the team, that's fine. He'll report to training camp. We'll be fine. No, you won't. That's such nonsense. Jack Eichel has made everything public that he wants out of there. You can't then bring your superstar back. Do me a favor with Jack Eichel. Wake me up when it's over. Just tell me where he's going. Whether it's Minnesota, maybe the Rangers, maybe Montreal now. Columbus is interested. I still think there's a chance he goes to Anaheim. Just wake me up. I don't want to hear every day. The general manager of Buffalo had a 3.5-minute conversation with the general manager of this team. I don't care.
True.
And again, the Rangers don't need him because now the other thing that has come out this week, although it's not really news, but it's being reported now, is that Mika Zibanejad is in his last year of his contract. So you're going to have to pay Mika Zibanejad next season, right? And Mika Zibanejad's camp, it's been reported this week, I'm not surprised at this, I may not agree with it, is asking for $10 million a year. You're not going to have enough money to have Jack Eichel, Mika Zibanejad, Alexis Lafreniere, Capo Caco, who's coming off of this is his last year on his entry-level contract. You can't have them both. So I think I'm just done with Jack Eichel. Like and I like the guy. I do. I got nothing against him, but just like enough. I don't want to hear it anymore.
I feel you. So who's our leader now? Like, who are we rallying up?
Good question.
Who's our
The Rangers
guy?
last year decided this is a Ranger move to do.
Yeah.
Decided that we were not going to name a captain. So as opposed to one person wearing a C on their jersey and 3 people wearing an A, we're just going to have 4 A's, right? So we have
No
4
C's.
There's no C's.
There's not one.
There's
C.
not one C.
Why not 4 C's?
Well, you can't have 4 captains. You can.
Why not?
I don't
Be
know.
co-captains. You can have a double C. CC.
So our leader, they will have a captain. They've said they're going to name a captain. It was. I don't understand really the logic that they didn't name one, but they will have a captain next year. It sounds to me, and I'm surprised at this, that Trouba, Jacob Trouba, the defenseman, is a candidate. It also sounds like one of their hard-nosed defensemen, Ryan Lindgren, who I like, is another option. It'll be interesting to see who they name. I am not a fan. I've said this on this program many times. I take crap for it. I'm not a Chris Kreider fan. Please do not give Chris Kreider the captaincy. He doesn't deserve it. But so I don't know who the leader is. But this is the problem with their identity, right? They don't have that identity. They're not in your face. They don't have a leader or a captain that's going to stick up for someone like the Scott Stevens of the world of the Devils, to go back to that example, which makes me nauseous to think about. But they just don't have it.
Do we have a player that we're building around? Do we have a player that's our
core?
superstar or core?
We have multiple.
Because you could be a really good player and not be the captain. You know what I mean? Like, you could be a young, talented person. Who's our team? Like, who are we not trading? We're not trading.
This is where the Rangers are exciting because they have multiple people that can be stars. Obviously, Adam Fox, young defenseman, he just won the Norris Trophy in his second year as best defenseman in the entire league. He would qualify. For years, there's been hype about their goalie, Igor Shesterkin. He's got a possibility. We know what Artemi Panarin can do. We don't have the full sample size of Capo Caco or Lafreniere yet, obviously, because they're young, but they can be stars. There's a lot of young talent here that can become, if this is why the window of opportunity for the Rangers is about to open up. And you're going to get now into probably not this season, but I would say like 2023 to maybe 2029, 2030, you're going to have a window open. So somewhere in this gap with the window open, find a way to win a Stanley Cup, please. That's the exciting part, because they have all these young players that if they do develop to what they can be, they will be a Stanley Cup contender. Now, free agent, go ahead.
So hockey, I mean, sports are a lot like business. So if I'm, investing in stocks, we don't know what stocks are going to blow up and what's going to be good. So if I'm getting a jersey, whose jersey should I get?
If you're a Ranger,
Yeah.
If you're a Ranger fan, you know what? I would probably look. I don't need any new jerseys. I've already got 9. I never really use them that much. But I will now that hockey's coming back to the Garden. I would get an Alexis Lafreniere. I mean, I think he's going to be there for a long time. But I mean, you could get an Adam Fox, and people would look at it and be like, "Oh, that's a sweet jersey." You could get a Shesterkin. You certainly could get a Panarin jersey or Zibanejad. I mean, there's a lot of people on the Rangers that garner a lot of attention and are good and are talented. So, if you're asking what I'm getting you for your wedding gift in November, apparently I'm getting you a Ranger jersey.
Nice.
I'm going to just put Sticks on the back of it instead of a name.
How about Friedman? Put Friedman. Put
Put your
I
real
gotta
name?
I got to rep my name.
1, Friedman. Sticks Friedman.
Or 10.
That's
10's,
Panarin.
10's my
Okay.
10's my lacrosse number.
That you'd be good, because Panarin would be a good one to have.
There you go.
So free agency officially opens in the NHL on Wednesday. And a couple things. The Rangers have announced, not really a surprise, that they're going to move on from Brendan Smith, defenseman that they had. Brendan Smith came here 4 years ago from Detroit. You know what? I never was a huge fan. Never really lived up to the hype. He was okay. I think in his first year here in 2017, he was really, really good in the playoffs that year. But beyond that, he really didn't do much. He's older now. It's not really a surprise. And again, some of the Ranger fans with their emotional connections to these people is bizarre. Like, wow, we're letting Brendan Smith go. The dude is like, he has not been good for 2 or 3 years. Why would you want the team to resign him? But they have said that when free agency is official tomorrow, they will be signing from the Colorado Avalanche defenseman Patrick Nemeth, which is a very good signing. He will be a depth move. He is a left-handed defenseman which the Rangers need. Again, as I just told you 20 seconds ago, they're moving on from Brendan Smith, who was a left-handed defenseman, so you need to replace him. And it sounds like he may be brought in part to help coach and nurture the young player Niels Lindqvist, who is a top-rated defenseman who hopefully will be making his debut. So we do turn our attention to free agency. I don't think – now, look, the Rangers – have a way always of making a big splash the day free agency opens. So 2 years ago, they signed Panarin on July 1st, 2019. I was standing, I will not forget this. I was standing on a line to board a plane in Newark Airport to go to Salt Lake City for work. And I got a text that they signed him. And I was like, there's no way this is accurate, but it's typical Rangers on the first day to make a big splash. It's not going to happen tomorrow. So I can promise you, you will not be shocked tomorrow. There's no one that they're really going to sign that's going to like blow you out of the water. It's going to be small moves like the Patrick Nemeth move. You may see they've been tied to Blake Coleman, who's a guy from Tampa who just won the cup there the last 2 years. He actually used to play up here with the Devils. I would be more than fine with that, but you're not going to get a free agency splash. Okay,
right.
So don't get too excited tomorrow when free agency opens and you're like, oh my God, who are the Rangers going to take? There's going to be nobody fun.
Got it.
So a lot going on in Rangerland. When we are back in 2 weeks and possibly remote show, we will have the answers on that. Now, the NHL schedule came out last week, as they always usually do. They usually put it out. I think every sport does this really, where they try to release the schedule for the coming year a couple days before the draft. The NHL did this. They released it on Thursday night. They did a whole release thing, which I didn't really understand on SportsCenter, but they did a whole release show, and they released the schedule, and the Rangers will open October 13th in Washington. So you get the Tom Wilson rematch right away.
Wow.
And they will have their home opener a night later, Thursday night, October 14th versus Dallas. Now, I do hope, and I say this, and I really want to be right on this, and I know where I know where you stand. And again, we're not going down the political road with you at all. But I pray that in October, sports arenas are still like allowed to open with the way things are going.
I don't have to be political.
We
want to live our lives, man.
We want to live our lives. So we will stay tuned on the Ranger off-season front going forward, and we will see what they do in the next couple of days. And again, any move they make are building again to this identity that the Rangers are trying to get rough, physical, in your face, building a third and fourth line.
I like it.
Before we leave, I got a thing last week. And I know we talked about this on the show, but it's like a seasonal topic. But we're heading there. Fantasy football. Do you have your draft yet? Or well, not
No.
that you have your draft. I'm sorry.
No.
Nobody would have had their draft yet. Let me say that yet. Have you gotten like the league invite?
I've gotten tons of stuff from Yahoo, but I haven't like clicked on it.
What are you waiting for? The end of August? Pretty much?
When do people usually have their drafts? Like
End of
September?
August. Yeah, end of August, beginning of September. Yeah, week one in the NFL this year is, I believe, it's September 12th.
I got an idea.
Yes.
It's off the cuff. So
Oh boy.
the interwebs.
I'm gonna sit back. Go ahead.
Let's do a fantasy league. It doesn't. I mean, no, we don't have to wrangle these people in, but some of these business spotlight people could be in the fantasy. We could have an MYPB fantasy draft.
We could do that. We could do a or you know what we could do? Actually, it would be easier, and I think we could do this if we wanted to. I do them sometimes. I don't love them, but we could do them as like a pick'em league, like Yahoo does a pick'em, and we could
just like pick the winners of the week.
Yeah, but it's like cumulative, right? So it's not or you could do week by week. You could do it either way, or you could do cumulative, and we could give away something for whoever the grand winner is.
I like that.
they could come and hang out with you for a day.
Absolutely.
I mean, if that's not like the gift of all gifts, the gift that keeps on giving.
So you don't. Along with that, you don't want to have you, me, B-Rock, Garrett. Who else could we get?
We could get people, but I'm saying
MYPB
we could put it out there to listeners too and get other people on. We could do that.
True.
You know what? Let me get through my trip and let you get.
It's
through
in the works.
And let you get through your trip.
Yes.
And then I feel like when we're back here, which will be like mid-August, that's where like the world kind of shifts because like the NFL preseason is starting, training camps are open, and a lot of people are now thinking of that vaunted word back to school. And you kind of get that shift and people will have football on the brain. That may be the time to do it.
And we want to let them know that we're kind of restructuring some things. So if you're interested in being a part of the show, getting a shout out, coming on the show, sponsoring the show, you definitely want to email us.
You do. In the next couple of weeks, this will be something also in August, and we should mention it. It'll be a good thing to close with, is that we are going to be opening up, some sponsorships. We've had some people interested in that. And now that, summer, when we come back, is kind of ending. I think we'll have some time to sit down, you and I, and kind of figure that stuff out and meet with the big wigs of Undefeated Media and figure out a way to do that. But if you're interested, you can always email us at any time and get kind of preliminary info if you want at mypbshow@gmail.com. That is a wrap for me. Anything else to you?
Great show.
Yeah, Brian was excellent. Brian from Monster Tree Service. Check them out. And if you are listening, also we should say this. I should have said this when Brian was on. If you're listening and you're not in Northern New Jersey, go to monstertreeservice.com. Chances are they may have a location near you. They are national. Absolutely. So if you're listening to us today in Florida or California or wherever you are, chances are you can find them elsewhere.
Nice.
That's a wrap. Thanks for listening to us. Again, we will probably most likely be on hiatus next week. You cannot get your MYPB fix. And I believe the following week it's looking like we may be remote, but we will do something. Yeah, we will not take a full 2 weeks off. We will take 1 week off. And then we will return live in studio. And then we will get ready for football season. We will announce the sponsorship program. We will announce the football pick'em stuff that we're doing where we'll give away something. And we'll go from there.
Nice. I like it.
Anything else on your end?
Sounds good to me.
Thank you, Dougie Six. Well, thank you for listening as always, and enjoy the rest of your day and have a good and safe week.